Let's look at tonight's two-game NHL slate on Draftkings. We have Vancouver and Nashville in Game 1, Dallas and Vegas in Game 2. Looking at our overview of the two games in our Today's Games tabs, we have Vancouver coming in with the highest targetability, followed by Dallas, Nashville right behind them, and then bringing up the rear is Vegas. But let's provide a little context for these scores, where they're coming from, and hopefully get a better idea of who we can target tonight. So Vancouver has the highest targetability at 20.2, but that is largely because of Saros' 879 save percentage in the playoffs, which 879 is not a good save percentage, but he does have the best goals against average of all the goalies starting tonight. And that's because this series has been so low event. Neither team is putting many shots on goal. In fact, let's go to the money puck graph here. I have the axes set for expected shots on goal for and expected goals for, to kind of get an idea of which teams are generating offense. So if we look at the playoffs, here are Vancouver and Nashville. They are two of the three worst teams in expected shots on goal per game, and two of the worst teams in expected goals per game, and they're playing against each other. This series has just been really hard to get shots for either team. So going back here, Saros' save percentage is not good, which is bumping up their targetability, but his goals against average is good because Vancouver's just not getting any shots. Now you can have like that, 2 games ago when Besser had, I think, 8 shots and the hat trick, and obviously he exploded the slate. If you had Besser, you won money. That can happen again, but as a team, even though Vancouver has a high targetability, it's hard to imagine a bunch of players on the same line hitting the shots bonus. So when you play Vancouver, make sure you get a stack, preferably a stack that has power play correlation, because you're going to need those goals and assists for that line to crush and help you take down a GPP tonight. Going back to this graph here on Money Puck, the only teams worse, or the only team, there's only one of them, worse than Nashville and Vancouver in terms of putting pucks on net and scoring goals has been Vegas. And of course, Vegas is on the slate tonight. So we have 3 teams, the 3 worst teams in expected shots on goal, and 3 of the worst teams, including the 2 very worst in expected goals, are on the slate tonight. Conversely, Dallas has been among the best teams at putting shots on goal and scoring goals. So their expected shots on goal, 37.17. Their expected goals for, 3.6. Dallas, clear and away, has been the best offense of these 4 teams on the slate. Seems like it should be cut and dry then. The problem is Logan Thompson has been probably the best goalie of the 4 goalies on the slate. So we have the only offense that's been good going against the best goalie of the series. And I'm assuming Logan Thompson gets to start tonight. Adin Hill didn't look great in the last start. I would be pretty shocked, unless Thompson's hurt or sick or something, I'd be pretty shocked if he doesn't get the start again tonight. So I'm expecting Thompson in net for Vegas, which makes it a harder matchup for Dallas. All that being said, the bottom line, to me anyway, is that you start your lineup one of 2 ways. Either you stack Dallas as the clear best offense on the slate, or you play Logan Thompson in net, as Dallas should take the most shots on goal. And Thompson is probably the only goalie with a legitimate chance at the 35 save bonus, based on how anemic these 3 offenses have been. Vancouver expected shots 26.5, Nashville expected shots 26.5. Vancouver's expected shots 26.35, and Vegas expected shots 25.04. Not even getting close, whereas Dallas expected shots 37.17. So, to me, you either stack Dallas or you play Logan Thompson. And I think, because last time we had Dallas and Vegas, I think it was a 2-game slate, and I said I think you can play both, and I'm on that train again. I think you can find a cheap Dallas stack, and also play Logan Thompson, hoping for the 35 save bonus. And if that line that you stack scores a goal, they combine for a goal, maybe even two, whether they win or lose, as long as they're putting a bunch of pucks on net, you can still win this slate with a cheap-ish Dallas stack and Logan Thompson as your goalie. And I think that is a good way to get different tonight. It might even be how I end up building my lineups. So that's kind of the overview. Dallas, the best offense. Vancouver, the second best as far as DFS targets. Then Nashville, then Vegas. And then I've added the skaters here. I was waiting for morning skate so we can get any lineup adjustments as needed. So Vancouver 2, Dallas 2, Nashville 1. I put the skaters that skated on that line this morning. And then I put in bold if they have power play correlation. So if you look at Vancouver 2, Pettersson plays on line 2, but he also plays on power play 1. Höglander and Mikheyev don't play on the power play. So there's no correlation there. With Dallas 2, you have Jamie Benn, Wyatt Johnston, and Logan Stankoven. Johnston and Stankoven both play on power play 2, so there's correlation there. Benn plays on the top power play unit for Dallas. And then Nashville 1, Forsberg, O'Reilly, and Nyquist. They have even strength and power play correlation, so they're all in bold. That's kind of what the bold names mean. And then, as you all know, the next thing I look for is a cheap way to round out my lineup with some defensemen that are in a good position to hit the blocks bonus. We don't really have any cheap defensemen. There are no great matchups as far as shot blockers go. Vegas all season has been one of the best shot blocking teams in the league, and they're still a very good shot blocking team. The problem is, because they've been good all season and they continue to be good in the playoffs, their salaries reflect that. So there is not a cheap Vegas defenseman that I can recommend playing. These four have all been fine as far as their fantasy production, whether it's a lot of them, they've all been blocking shots. Some have also been putting shots on goal and recording points. McNabb, Martinez, Theodore, and Hannafin, but the cheapest of those is $4,300, and that's Alec Martinez. So I'd have no problem really playing any of these guys, looking for blocks, but at those salaries, it's in the worst offensive game of the slate, or for them anyway, the worst offensive spot of the slate. It's hard for me to recommend any of them, so they're all in yellow. If you find yourself with exactly this much salary left for a defenseman, then I think it's okay to use any of those four guys. On the cheaper end, we have Chris Tanev for Dallas, who's been blocking a lot of shots this series against Vegas. But probably my favorite cheap... God, English is hard. My favorite cheap defenseman on the slate is Carrier for Nashville. He's been blocking shots. I believe he even has a couple of points. Let's go check here. Nashville's lineups. In the last 5, Carrier has 5 shots, 14 blocks, and 3 points. Not bad at all for 3,200 Alexander Carrier. So he is my favorite and really the only one I would consider a cheap defenseman. So Carrier is the first spot I'm looking to save some salary from a defenseman. Okay, I think that pretty much covers it tonight. I should mention the only goalie we have probable is Shelovs for Vancouver. The rest are just my best guess at who is starting. If we get lineups and a different goalie's in, I'll update the sheet and it will reflect in the targetability scores at the bottom here. So one more time, even though Vancouver 2 comes in with the highest targetability, my lineups are going to hinge on, do I want to stack Dallas, or do I want to play Logan Thompson in net, or do I want to do both? And then once I've answered that question, I'm going to fill in with Vancouver 2 stacks, Dallas 2 stacks, Nashville 1 stacks, and then Alexander Carrier or Chris Tanev if I need to save some money on defense. If there's anything else that you all want to see in this sheet, any other stats or projections that you think would help you when you're building your lineups, let me know and I'll find a way to incorporate it here. Otherwise, thank you all for watching. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed, and good luck tonight.